So in this video, it's going to be a relaxed chit chat all about homeschooling and homemaking, and I'll be answering your questions that you have sent me through YouTube and Instagram. I've always wanted to answer your specific questions, and now I have the chance. So if you are ready, grab your favorite beverage, your tea, coffee, and come join me in this video. And so if you are a sister that has sent me a question, thank you so much. So the first question is from Instagram: how to homeschool with an active toddlersaurus. And that's a perfect way to describe a toddler when you're homeschooling, but alhamdulillah. So I actually have a toddler this year and last year. My youngest was 1 to 1.5 last year, and she just turned 2. So I think I've gotten good on how I manage homeschooling with a toddler. So I just want to say before I start, homeschooling with a toddler or a baby is not easy, but you can make it work. And what I always tell myself is that this is just a season of your life, and your baby and your toddler will grow out of this. So by the time the next school year comes around, your toddler or baby will be much older, and you'll be changing what you do with them anyway in your homeschool. So this is just a season of your life. And so the way I have done it is through trial and error. And I'm gonna share it with you exactly what worked for me. And so the actual homeschool day, when I'm trying to teach my other kids, what worked is having little containers of different little balls or strings or things that the toddler can play with set out during your homeschool time. So I just had a random bin with random things in it from the dollar store that I would just set out for her when we do homeschooling. It was not organized or anything. I just set it out and she would play with that while I teach my other two. So having little boxes of little things that they can play with, and just remember that their attention span is very small, so they will probably get bored and want to come to you. And just be open to maybe even having them on your lap and they can play with something on the table while you are homeschooling the other one. It's just a lot of balancing that you have to do when you do have a baby or a toddler. The other thing that worked for me is putting her in a playpen with some toys and some snacks. That gives me a good 20 minutes when I stuck her in there. Also putting her in her high chair and giving her some snacks in there and some toys in her high chair so she's contained, and then I can do some more work. So it's just kind of seeing what works for your toddler. And so like I said, sister, this is just a season and your child will eventually grow out of it. Question number 2 from Instagram is: how do you have time for self-care? So I try to be very strategic with my time and making sure I make time for self-care. Because otherwise, as a homeschooling mom, if you don't make time for self-care, it does not happen. So I actually prioritize taking care of myself and doing what I want before planning for my home and my homeschool. And so you have to think about, what do you consider self-care? What do you want to do in your day or in your week that will rejuvenate you, that will fill your cup? Figure out what that is, and then I would say schedule that in. And so for me, self-care is reading my book or watching videos on how to grow on YouTube, or maybe going to a nice coffee shop without kids. Those are things that I love. And so I schedule that in. So during my homeschool day, we have quiet time every day from like 1 to 3, at least 1 to 2 hours of quiet time. And that's the time where I have most of my self-care. And that's the time when my kids are having quiet time and my baby is napping, that I have my own time to take care of myself. That's when I read my book when I want. That's when I watch my videos on how to grow on YouTube. That's when I make videos on YouTube. So that is very important for me. So having a time in the middle of your day for quiet time, I really suggest creating that in your homeschool. The other time I have for self-care is the morning time before my kids wake up. Even if it's like literally 15-20 minutes, waking up before my kids, that I can come down, take my vitamins, drink my water, read a little bit of my Quran. If I can just do that before my kids wake up, I feel better and rejuvenated, and I'm ready to welcome my kids when they wake up. And so I really recommend being strategic and planning self-care and rest time in your homeschool day. And then also once a week, sister, I truly recommend doing something for yourself outside the house. For me, is I love going to a coffee shop. And that's what I do. Every Sunday, my husband takes care of the kids, and for like 1 to 2 hours, I go out by myself. And so figure out if maybe your husband can watch the kids or a family member can watch the kids, and do something once a week for yourself outside the house. The other question from Instagram is, I'm married and no kids yet, but I want to homeschool. What can I do now to prepare? And this is amazing. I've noticed in the emails that I get, there are so many ladies that are either pregnant with their first, or they just have their first baby and it's a baby, and they're interested in homeschooling. They are emailing me, asking me questions about homeschooling, and I love the initiative. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. May Allah bless you on this journey. And so to answer this question, I would say what you can do now to prepare is to seek knowledge for yourself. I really recommend learning the Quran, how to read the Quran, proper tajweed, memorize the Quran. Also seeking knowledge in Islam. Learn as much as you can about your religion, and learn as much as you can about Quran, because you are going to be teaching your kids. You can definitely get a teacher to teach your kids alongside you. I really recommend you being their main teacher, and then a teacher also helps, because the teacher most likely cannot teach 5 days a week. And so you have to take over their teaching, do their Quran with them, teach them their Qaida Noorania, teach them about Islam when their teacher is not there. So you have to know that knowledge and be comfortable with that knowledge. So seek knowledge, sister. That is like the most important tip I can give you if you want to homeschool and you don't have kids, because you have the time right now. This is the best time to invest in yourself so you can be the best educator for your kids, inshallah. And so before I continue, let me know what you think about this Q&A video, this relaxed chit chat video, and if you want me to do more of these. I really enjoy making them. They are definitely more relaxed video, and if you guys like them, I'll make more of these. Another question I got from Instagram is, do you have a homeschooling community for Muslim moms? Would love to join. You are like reading my mind, because inshallah, this is my goal. And I am currently working on this, creating a homeschooling community for Muslim moms. And so I was planning to launch one back in March before I started my YouTube channel, but I had certain things come up with my family that I had to take care of. So I knew that I wouldn't have the energy and the time to invest in that community at that time. But alhamdulillah, I'm in a better place, my family's in a better place. And so my plan is to launch a homeschooling community for Muslim moms. So keep an eye on that. So the next question is, how do you find homeschool mom friends you like and get along with? And so with homeschooling, you truly need to find your community in the real world. And so it's so important to have 1 or 2 other moms that homeschool like you, that you can bounce off ideas, that you can talk to about homeschooling and managing your home and other specific problems that you might face because you homeschool, and only they understand. And so how do you find these homeschool mom friends? I truly advise to put yourself out there. Whenever there is a homeschool outing, a homeschool event, homeschool picnic, sign up, make sure you go there with your kids to meet other ladies that homeschool. And through that, you will meet so many other moms that homeschool, and you will find ladies that fit you, fit your personality, and that you get along with, and that you can be lifelong friends with. So the key is putting yourself out there and going to these events. Okay, so the next question is, how do you lesson plan for the homeschool year? And so this is a great question. I actually made a video, which I'll link right here, where I show you how I plan for the whole homeschool year, and then also how I plan every term and every day. And so because I use open and go curriculums that literally I just open and I teach the lesson, there's very minimal planning. And so every day I know what lessons we are covering for each subject, and I just write that down and I cross off as I go. And that's literally what I do for my daily planning. Next question is, what's a typical routine of a homeschool day? Kids want to go back to school. And so when it comes to a typical routine, you would have to create that based on what fits your family. But I would suggest, because this question also says the kids want to go back to school, I would really recommend sitting down with each of your kids and trying to figure out what they love to do. What are they interested in? What do they like to do on a regular basis? What do they want to learn more about? And I want you to show them that they can do this more and they can pursue more of their interests now that they're homeschooled versus when they are in school. So it's going to be your job to figure out how they can learn this skill. To try to find a program or a class that they can attend during the day that they can learn that skill and interest. So balance their skill and interest with their actual schoolwork that they're doing to make them enjoy homeschooling more. This is all about conversations and working with your kids to eventually enjoy homeschooling. You cannot force homeschooling on older kids that have been to school. It's more like working with them and trying to get them on your side and showing them the benefits that homeschooling can provide for them. The next question is the famous question, which is how to deal with the social aspect. And inshallah, I plan to make a whole video on socialization, and that it's not a big deal when you are homeschooling, but this is like the number one thing people bring up when they hear that you're homeschooling. And so what I want to say is we are homeschooling, but at the same time we are out and about in the world. With homeschooling, people think your kids are just home, stuck in the house, not doing anything. No, it's like the opposite. Because homeschooling lessons don't take that long, because you are teaching one-to-one with each kid and you get through your lessons pretty fast, you have the whole day for your kids to do what they want to do, to follow their interests, to get into a program, to go outside and meet people and meet friends and enjoy living life. And through that, when your kids are outside doing things, doing sports, going to the library, going to the grocery store, living their life, they are exposed to human beings. And in that situation, they learn to socialize. This is something that we don't even have to think about because it naturally happens as human beings. Your kids will learn to socialize because they are going to be out there in the real world, talking to real people from all different walks of life, from all different faiths and way of living. And so your kids will learn. The biggest job that you have as a mom is to put your kids out there, to put your kids in specific environments where they learn to meet people, going to the park, putting them in sports and programs, putting them in masjid activities. It's your job to find those opportunities to put your kids out there so they can meet new kids, meet new people. And that's how they learn to socialize. When we go to the park, when we go to the programs, no one would think my kids are homeschooled because they are well socialized. Even my introvert, I have a child that is more introverted, he has learned how to speak confidently and for himself. And that's because we do so many things outside our house as a family with others, and they just learn. So socialization is definitely not a problem with homeschooling. Okay, so the next question from Instagram is, I'm a new homeschooler and I'm struggling with kids' routines. What should I do? And so what I would say is figure out exactly what routines you want your kids to do and create some sort of checklist of every step that you want your child to complete, for them to complete that routine. And then the other thing is reviewing that checklist and training your kid. So I'm not sure how old your kids are. Every child needs some sort of explanation and need to be shown how to do something. And so when you create a checklist and explain each step and see that they are doing each step and explain to them what the expectation is that you have, then that would help create a routine that your child will continue to do. A lot of times we want our kids to have a morning routine, make their bed, brush their teeth, get ready, but that's just things that we just blurt out to them. We actually have to make it systematic and organized and give them a checklist and tell them exactly what they need to do and do that routine multiple days with them so it gets ingrained in their head. If they're really young, then you have to do that for maybe even years until they get that routine down. So try that and let me know. The next question is from YouTube. And the first question is from Ruqya. And I see you, Ruqya, because you are the first to always comment on all my videos. You support me since the beginning, and I truly appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you so much for this question that you sent me. So the first one is, what inspired you to start a YouTube channel? And what inspired me is to show other Muslim moms that they can take charge of their own kids' education. And homeschooling is realistic and it's attainable. And because I've done it and I figure out things that worked for me to make my life easier in my homeschool and home. I wanted to share that with the world, to share with other moms that are also struggling, because I know homeschooling and managing your home are the two biggest pain points that Muslim moms face. So because once you start homeschooling, you start having the problem of keeping up with your home. Those are like go hand in hand. And so when I realized that I figured out systems that worked for me, that helps me, and I actually enjoy homeschooling. I love it now. My kids love it. I love it. I wanted to share that knowledge and that experience with you guys and other Muslim moms that want to homeschool. The next question from Ruqayya is, have you faced any challenges from family or friends in your homeschool journey? And yes, definitely. You will be tested in your homeschool journey with everybody around you, everybody that's especially close to you. And just like we learn in our religion, this world, the dunya, is a test for the believers. And you are tested a lot. And so with me, I have definitely been tested and faced some challenges. One of the main challenges is no support, don't understand, think I'm ruining my kids. So I've had family members that they still were respectful, but they told me their opinion that I was not making a good decision for my kids. And they were straight up with it. And so lack of support was the biggest thing. This next question is from Health Cubes on YouTube. And the question is, what are some good Quran resources for homeschooling young kids or toddlers? So I made a whole YouTube video on how you can start teaching the Quran and Qaida Noorania to your young child. And I'll link that video right here that you can watch after. But I have some great resources. Actually, you know what? Let me show you. So I might as well just show you. And so these are resources that I use to teach Qaida Noorania in my homeschool. And so number one, of course, the Qaida Noorania book. Any book will work. The other resource I love is the 6 cards by Amina Muhammad. And she's another homeschooling mom. And she made this amazing 6 cards to teach the letters with the haraka. So there's 6 of them. And they all, it's either fatha, kisra, damma, fathatain, kisratain, and dammatain. And this is literally what I used when my child was like 3 to 4 years old to memorize the letters and the sounds. So I really recommend her book, which I'll link everything down below. The other thing I really like is to teach your child to read Arabic in 10 easy lessons. I love using, so these are the 2 main books I use every day to teach Qaida Noorania. And this is an extra book that I use to make, if it's a day that my child doesn't really want to do their Qaida Noorania, I just grab this book and we just practice the letters and the sounds. The reason why I like it, because it's very colorful and the letters are so big. And so I grab this book and maybe we do a couple pages to review if my child is not really want to do his actual Qaida Noorania book. So I really recommend this book by Tarbiya Islamia, which I'll link down below. So if you like this video, then you would love the playlist of my next videos. And all these videos are different ways on how I manage my home and my homeschool. So I linked the whole playlist of videos that you can watch somewhere on this screen that you can go check out.